Dr. Nandipa, in terms of your investigation, how often did she visit?
She visited regularly until November last year. The year before, sorry. The incident is more than a year ago.
And if you say regularly, how often was that?
I don't want to commit. I will rather send the document to the committee as well, where all the visits has been recorded.
Okay, and when did she start visiting?
I don't want to commit myself, but I think it was in 2017.
2017.
And just days prior to this incident, a vehicle made an unauthorized entry into the prison facility, correct?
That's correct.
How come? Why?
That's currently being investigated. We've been notified by the notice that my colleague has referred to during the presentation, which we received on the 28th of February this year.
What precisely did, forgive me, but precisely what did you investigate for the past year, if you didn't know that until February? I mean, what form did your investigation take?
Honourable Member, if I may, I think the timelines here should not be overlooked. The incident, as you pointed out, happened on the 29th of April last year. It became known to the DCS through an affidavit filed by one of our employees in mid-November. This incident was raised for the first time. The DCS made that information available to us for the first time, I believe it was 3.5 months later, on the 28th of February. And it's then that we started to investigate this matter. So even though the incident happened 10 months ago, we've only had knowledge of this matter for a few weeks. And it's not that we've done nothing. We have commenced this investigation, and these investigations are very sensitive if you want to conduct them properly.
Very sensitive, you want to conduct them properly. I know a thing or two about investigations.
Secondly, the incident book, where it was recorded that the vehicle had entered and 8 minutes later had left the facility, suggests nothing untoward with that entry. So by any independent party looking at that log, they would not have detected anything untoward as far as that vehicle's entry and exit is concerned.
So your system is deficient, doesn't pick up, there's no checks and balances, doesn't pick up this kind of thing. Can go undetected for a year. There could have been many more such entries and exits, who would know? So clearly your system is not foolproof. Your staff didn't report it for some odd reason. How many people are on duty at the gate? One.
I'll ask my colleagues to, I don't know what that answer is.
There was one on duty, Honourable Member, yes, correct.
And how did the vehicle get in without authorization?
The process will still reveal it, but currently I can confirm that we've got 7 people that suspended pending this investigation on the involvement on that specific incident.
You've had 6 weeks. So how far have you got with your investigation? Tell us, that's what you're here to do.
We've taken most of the affidavits. There was one affidavit that was still pending on an employee that wasn't available. The investigator will deal with that. And then unfortunately, the investigator that's investigating that had the operation and was out of context for a week. Thank you.
So the vehicle came in, it was bringing in what? A kist, a box, a quasi-coffin. You agree with me? I presume your investigation has at least revealed that.
Yes, it was a TV stand cabinet that came in.
A TV stand cabinet, okay. And where did that TV stand cabinet go to?
It went into the skills development area, and according to the people that currently being investigated, this stand was brought in by the supervisor that is currently suspended, not suspended, being dismissed, and that came in for rectification purposes.
To be repaired. Was it repaired, do you know?
No, it was not repaired, Your Honor.
I see, and that didn't raise a red flag with anybody? a large wooden box comes into the prison in contravention of all the protocols for repair and doesn't get repaired. Didn't bother anyone?
I cannot answer on that at this stage. As I said, I will be able to answer that when the investigation has been
I
finalized.
see. Could a corpse have fitted into that TV stand?
I think so, yeah.
And it wasn't searched. It wasn't inspected.
That's one of the reasons why the employee that was working there has been suspended. Currently, he didn't do his work properly.
Yeah, but it's a year later. A bit sad, that. So your Sally Porter's got all these fancy mirrors and lights and cameras and whatever. Nobody noticed on any of the cameras that the thing had come in and wasn't inspected?
Honourable Member, once again, the investigation is currently pending, but the people that's working in the CCR room that had to monitor this is also currently being suspended because they did not report it.
So the list of those whose palms were greased is getting longer. It's not just 3 people. We're standing now at around 10, is that right?
We're currently there, but remember, we're currently still busy with the investigation. And
I've got no doubt the numbers will increase.
It may be that from the 7, some of them can come back to work because you suspend to ensure that you can conduct a proper investigation without interference of people.
Honorable Breitenbach. 16th of April, Thabo Bester receives a secret visit. Who is this person who visited Bester on the 16th of April? Name him. The person who visited Bester on the 16th of April 2022. Who is that? You don't know.
Perhaps, Honourable Chair, I can ask my colleagues, do you have knowledge of a visit, regardless of the person on that day, to inmate Bester?
I can confirm that his visit record proved no visit on that specific day.
Chair, I will submit to the committee deliberations that Bester had a secret visitor on the 16th of April 2022, and G4S is dishonest. Thank you very much. Mention is that Thabo Bester could not pay his protection fee to a 26 gang, which is something completely illegal within prison cells. But you approve it. You approve an application on the basis of illegal operations inside correctional centers. Is that not a way of you approving the gangsterism that is happening in those prison cells?
Honourable Member, I'll ask Mr. Manyanti to answer that. I just want to clarify, I did not make the statement regarding...
You did not what?
I did not make the statement regarding the 26 gang during the session this morning.
Honourable Member, it's not to say we are promoting gangsterism. The reasons that are provided to us by inmates, even if we've got a view that this reason is not so legitimate, but we cannot take a risk and deny that inmate that opportunity, because if the inmate is of the view that his life is in danger, we need to be cautious. We really need to take an urgent step. And for the inmate to apply to be kept in single cell, it is a formal process that we need to follow. There was nothing wrong with the administration and the placement of the inmate in the single cell.
To be in the PPP without a smoke detector. The second question, Chair, is around the issue of what your security solutions expert says. That a man enters the server of some kind at almost 20 to 8 p.m. on the 2nd of April 2022. Now, DVRs are not working until 11 minutes past 4 in the morning, after you have actually detected the smoke. But that it further says, when there is a malfunction in the DVRs, it automatically reports to the control room operators. Was it report? Who was working at the control room during that night of the incident? Has this reported to the control rooms? If the answer is not in the affirmative, why did the DVRs not report the malfunction to the control room operators?
Honourable Member, Mr. Beideveld can tell you who was in the control room that evening. What I can say to you is, of the 3 members that we suspended very soon after the incident, and of the 3 members that we dismissed for not following policies and procedures, 2 of them operated the control room that night. Mr. Beileveld can give you the names of those individuals.
The one was a lady, Natasha Janssen. The other person was Frans Makotsa. Those were the 2 people that was working in there. And then, just on clarification, Honourable Member, the system do not give you a report that the recordings are not working. I can confirm that, and you can determine that as well by asking the question to Integriton, who will be available to you. Because as far as my knowledge concerned, and in the investigation, that does not appear on the screen if the recordings are not working.
That's fine, let's pass. Did you do a forensic investigation on what actually caused the fire? If the answer is in the affirmative, what are the findings of that forensic investigation? What actually caused the fire inside the prison cell?
Honourable Member, no, we did not do a forensic investigation. So
you don't know what caused the fire in the prison cell?
No, we don't.
Okay. No, leave it like that. You don't. So you still maintain that fire was detected at 4 o'clock?
There was smoke detected at 3 o'clock. That was not.
So fire started at 2:30, but your smoke detectors detect that fire at 4 a.m.
Honourable Member,
is that what you're saying?
Honourable Member, I have no knowledge, and I don't know what the source is that suggests that the fire started.
And the fire is an emergency. So whatever system you put as an emergency system reports an emergency immediately. So you say fire breaks out at 2:30 a.m., but your detectors detect it at 4 a.m. Is that honesty? Is that the kind of honesty you want to bring to this Parliament and the people of South Africa?
Honourable Member, as I said before, I have no knowledge and I have no proof that the fire started at 2:30.
Okay, fine. Was Bester moved to cell 35 on the 28th of April or on the 30th?
He was, well, I'll get Mr. Beileveld to answer that question.
He was moved on the 30th, Honourable Member.
Okay, not a problem. The incident happens at 3 a.m. Reported to police at 11 minutes past 6 a.m. What were you doing with the corpse, with these corpses in between this time? Are you forensic pathologist?
Honourable Member, and again, Mr. Beileveld can take you through the events of that morning, but allow me to say that our first response was to extinguish the fire. Once the fire had been extinguished and the door had to be opened to extinguish the fire fully, the cell was cordoned off and no one entered that cell, to my knowledge, other than the nurse and the doctor who had to attend to the person until the police arrived.
You'll agree with me that, just tell me, how would this propellant, this petrol, let's assume it was petrol, have gotten into the cell?
Honourable Member, we don't know.
You don't know.
We detected that and we alerted the police to that.
And where would the matches, the lighter, the whatever it is that sets the light come from?
I don't know.
You don't
Honourable
know.
Member.
And you've done nothing to find out. Cell 35 has been traversed quite thoroughly by my colleagues. But you'll agree with me that it's a massive confluence of coincidences that Bester was moved there on that particular date, to that particular cell. Right in the corner, where unless you're really paying attention, you will not see somebody walking up and down there. Because we looked, we did an experiment. And we saw the person because we were watching him. If the controller is not paying 100% attention, maybe blowing her nose or whatever, we wouldn't have seen it. Because it's the only cell that's so far away that you can't see. And not to put too fine a point on it, and no pun intended, it's right next to the fire escape. Can you tell me that that's a coincidence? Are you suggesting that that's a coincidence?
I have no information, Honourable Member, other than to regard that as a coincidence.
Yeah.
What I'm not ruling out is that certain members, together with Mr. Bester, carefully planned this event. I'm not ruling that out, but I have nothing tangible to present to you to say that this is anything other than a coincidence.
You've been investigating for a year. You've had the benefit of the GIX report, which is an excellent one. You've had the benefit of your interaction with DCS. You've had the benefit of the interaction with the South African police. And you're telling me that a year and a bit later, the best you can say is you don't rule out the possibility that this was a well-planned, monumentally logistical operation. I mean, I have a German Shepherd puppy that can come to that conclusion. There's the arson, the setting alight of whoever the poor individual was in that cell. There's the corpse substitution. Who is that person in the cell? Where did they come from? Did they come from inside the prison? Because then your head count wouldn't have matched. Did they come in from the outside? How? Did they walk in? Were they murdered in the prison? Did they come in dead? You can't answer any of these questions.
We don't know.
You don't know. A year and a bit later, you don't know.
We have provided all information pertaining to the movement of our personnel that evening to the SAPs, and it's for them to investigate
I see.
based on our information.
You have no responsibilities.
I'm not.
Why was Thabo Bester with his personal laptop? How did it enter the prison facility?
Honourable Member, I'll ask Mr. Munyanti to explain to you the controls that are put in place when a laptop is brought into the facility for use by an inmate to ensure that that laptop is used exclusively for study purposes.
Honourable Member.
But before you go there, I think the question was why. Before you move to the security features, let's start with the first question. Let's start answering the first question.
Honourable Member, can I request you to repeat the first question?
The first question was that you authorized an inmate to have a laptop inside a prison cell. What were the reasons behind that? And your honorable colleague speaks about something related to education. And we're trying to talk to him that we have visited prison cells where student inmates do not use their personal laptops, but those of DCS or whoever is running the prison facility. Why was he specially given his personal laptop, which you may not know if he actually used that laptop to commit those crimes?
Honourable Member, I can confirm that not only Bester was allowed to have...
No, let's talk about Baxter. Let's leave other inmates. Let's talk about Baxter. Why was he allowed to have his personal laptop when you ran a risk of giving him a tool he used to commit the crimes? Why?
Remember, the reasons are he qualified.
What are the qualifications?
Based on the criteria that we have set to say before we can allocate a laptop to an inmate, there needs to be evidence that he has registered with an institution and the qualification in which he is studying. We are able to take note of that in our prison. Therefore, those are the reasons that prompted us to allow Bester to be in possession of the laptop. Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Member, I would like to highlight that in the whole entire center, we don't have any smoke detectors. We are heavily relying on the human beings when they pick up unusual behaviors to can report. Thank you.
So what does he mean when he says the smoke was detected at 4 a.m. if you have no smoke detectors?
Honorable Member, what we are trying to say is, based on the video recording that we have, seen the time slots that are appearing on the screen, that's where the times are quoted from. Not necessarily to say we've got a fire detector in all the sections. We don't have such in that present.
Fine, Chair. We'll attend to TCS to check if such a kind of facilities do qualify to be in the PPP.
Can you confirm or deny that Mr. Sehore left your prison, he went out and then came back just 10 minutes before the CCTV footage kicked back in?
Honourable Chair, I'll ask Mr. Bijleveld, as the investigator, to report to you on that.
It can be reported that Mr. Suari didn't only went out once, found in the investigation, and he went out a few times in the investigation, and it did form part of his disciplinary process and form part of the reason why he was dismissed. The person that was at that point in time registered as his next of kin was an uncle that could not be get hold of on the information that was supplied by Bester. So the next person that was informed was the doctor in Dipa, which was on his contact list as a contact to inform of the death.
But was not registered as a next of kin. So in that case, when a prisoner dies in your cells and you cannot locate the next of kin, do you just take any contact from, or any listed contact from the prisoner?
No, you don't do any. You don't just take any contact, Honourable Member. You investigate. That's the person that did visit the inmate over the past few years. That was the person that you then contacted to determine if there's any other next of kin, and she informed us that the inmate is alone. He don't have any other next of kin except she, and she's currently customarily married to him.
Did you then seek any kind of documentation? Sorry, did you have any kind of documentation? Because I can't just claim a body if there's no black and white that says I am married to this person via customary marriage. Was there any kind of paperwork that you as G4S did or you do on a systematic basis when there is a person who dies in your premises?
There is paperwork, and we will submit it with the other document that was requested by the committee.
Thank you.